Yes.
All right, everyone. So let's grab Jenna again. No. Okay. Let's go and push Jenna.
Let's push Jenna into Carl so the knife dives into our ram friend. So horses are
Maybe it'll
equine.
ram and
Well, horses are equines. What are goats? Because rams are basically goats, right?
I think so. I don't remember. All right, let's push Jenna.
Push.
Carl, watch out! I yell as loud as I can before giving the shove I can give. I do it at an angle so she doesn't directly hit Carl. Carl leaps to the side as I slam into her, sending Jenna forward to faceplant into the rocks and dirt. I reach out to Carl just as Raven goes blurring past me. He leaps onto Jenna, pinning her down.
Go! Just go! We'll figure something out later, but you need to get away, Carl!
Raven snarling as he tries to keep Jenna pinned, something that doesn't match his cheerful face at all. Carl stumbles to his feet, then turns and starts jogging away. Carl, wait! Help me up! Carl seems to hesitate before finally turning around and leaves to help pick me up. And with that, we limp away towards the road. I think we're heading towards the mansion again, but Carl turns us towards to the road, to the town instead. The growls and snarls get fainter behind us, and I happen. Hopefully, Jenna just stops once Carl is out of sight. He seems to be the only thing she's interested in now. Carl breathes raggedly in my ear. Over the sounds of his stumbling clops and my dragging shuffle. Carl, you want to go back to your house instead? Carl doesn't respond, and I look over to him to see him looking straight ahead, eyes fixed on nothing. Carl? He gives his head a little shake, so I go back to staring at my own feet. My ankle is numb at this point, which I guess is better than the lancing pain I'd had earlier. We're further down the road now, to the point where Jenna. Going this way might have been a good idea, so Jenna will probably end up going back to the mansion. Does she just need time to cool down? And where are we supposed to go now? I'm starting to realize what just happened is going to. I'm starting to realize that what just happened is going to affect everything. How are we even going to be near each? Jenna just tried to kill Carl. Jenna. John. Feel a sudden burst of anger towards him. A fucking serial killer possessing her, forcing her to do this shit. Carl's breathing is getting more ragged. I look over at him again, and I'm not really surprised to see tears down his face. Carl, do you need to sit down for a second? Take a rest. A few seconds later, Carl stops abruptly next to a small boulder, and I allow myself. The ram doesn't sit down with me, though. Instead, he starts pacing back and forth in front of me, occasionally wiping his face with his arm. Carl? Carl, sit down.
I don't know what to do, Chase.
Neither do I. Just sit down for a sec and we'll.
Oh, I don't know if we'll ever get out of here.
Carl sobs, then goes into a coughing fit. No, come on. We're doing good. We're at least getting somewhere.
Where? Does it go on forever? You don't know.
I look up at the ram, trying to think of something comforting to say.
Chase, I can't do this. I need a second.
Carl turns and starts walking further down the road. Carl? Carl, wait, we shouldn't split up. Hang on. I stand unsteadily, leaning over to rest a hand on the rock as Carl continuing his trek down the road towards the town.
Just wait. I need a moment. I'll be back.
Carl! I feel myself starting to panic as I stumble after him. I realize that not only am I for what might happen to him if he runs into this fake as if he runs off into this fake world, but I'm also afraid of being left alone here without. I hobble after him, but I realize immediately that I watch him get further and further away, down the middle of the road. I wheeze, clutching my chest as I try to keep up, the sides of my vision starting to turn white. Just like the milk he's probably going to go get, right?
Hmm.
I'm not sure what it is. The panic, my breathlessness, or the world itself. But the whiteness seems to pulse with the faint sobs of the ram in front of me. Slowly, the white takes over, and I'm in a fog. There's a distant, rhythmic pounding that sounds like a gong. Where have I heard it before? I feel a twinge of worry in my chest that I'm going to be late for class. Class. Ah, yeah, school. That's the clock tower that chimes every hour. Freezing cold leaks through my fur and stings at my nose. I bring my hands up to rub at my shoulder, shivering. The ground is covered in snow, even though it never snows here. At least not this much. We had a flurry once a few years ago, and even that was a surprise. But here it is, piled up on the ground. My mind is still catching up to me, feeling as if I've woken up in a dream. Fuck. Fuck. What happened? Carl. I was chasing after Carl on the road. It all comes back to me slowly. I was going after Carl after Jenna tried. I hear clopping up ahead of me. My head snaps. Okay, game over. My head snaps. My head snaps up, looking into the fog, unable to see clearly through it. Hello? Carl? My voice echoes into the emptiness of the university. Pueblo University. It feels like I haven't been here in months rather than just a week. I rub my shoulders again before padding up slowly onto one of the buildings. The pain in my ankle is now a dull, throbbing feeling, almost like it's dead. It doesn't seem like a good thing, but at least I can. It's just that I have to limp, feeling like I'm walking with a giant log instead of a. I focus on the building in front of me. I don't remember this one. In fact, I don't really remember any of them. The buildings are different shapes, just built with the same materials and colors. The building. I reach out, grasping at the handle. It's locked. I stare at the door for a while, unsure of what to do. More distant clopping up the sidewalk gets my attention, so I start moving in that direction. Carl? I call out more softly now because I'm starting to feel afraid of where I am. While I can't see anyone, the fur on my neck is prickling, like I'm somehow extremely vulnerable. Guess the only thing I know for sure about this ordeal is that nothing is as it seems. And for some reason, I don't feel like I'm safe in this place.
You were never there for me, you know?
I jump. Carl? The only response is silence. At least it sounded like Carl. Kind of. It was crackly, and muffled, like it was coming through a phone. I start to jog up the sidewalk and I notice that I'm stepping through the snow. Not really there either. We're not gonna hurt ya. The voice comes right over my shoulder and I cringe and let out a yelp, stumbling in my run and turn to face whatever just whispered in my ear. I stare at nothing. It had that same crackly mechanical sound to it. My fur is now standing up all over my body and I rub at my shoulders again, hugging my chest. Soft sound, maybe a footstep, makes me behind me, makes me whirl around in the other direction to find more. I stifle a whine and start trotting up the sidewalk again. This place is different. Something about this place is dangerous. It's unlike the mansion or the cabin, or even being next to that hanging guy. Something could hurt me here. I don't know how I know, but I know. Carl? My voice is getting more desperate. I've never felt more alone. Right now, more than anything, I just want to find Carl.
You wanted me to be there for you.
I jump, but I keep jogging, basically hopping with the way my leg isn't.
That's funny.
The sidewalk starts to curve, and I come up on the school's pond. I whisper to myself, "Fuck, where are you?" As I keep walking, the ground no longer feels smooth. Instead, I feel little pointed bits of sticking into my feet pads, even though there's smooth pavement when I look down at them. I pass a little stone bench, one that Carl liked to sit on back when he was in school with me that first semester.
I just can't, man. I wish I could, but every stupid fucking thing I say is so stupid.
Trust me, man, it's not. As my hands up to my throat, shocked because I definitely didn't say that. My voice is coming through like the others, muffled, distant, from the direction of that bench.
You don't understand. It's like I can't stop going over what I say to people. Then I just worry about it for days after.
Well, just don't. Just forget about it.
Oh, right.
Seriously, man, no one cares. Just don't worry about it, okay?
Yeah, okay.
I turn around, moving back the way I came, not wanting to hear those voices coming from the bench. I move back to where I was and look around more. The sidewalk branches off in several different directions, and I have no idea what to take.
You weren't there for me.
What? I stand there for a moment, feeling the panic starting to rise. What's the matter, face? We're not gonna hurt ya. That's not Carl. That's not me. I'm hearing things. I close my eyes, hugging my chin, stilling my breath, my breathing. Softer clopping sounds come from my left. I open my eyes and immediately move in that direction. Hey, we're just playing. I grit my teeth and mumble to myself. I was a kid. What was I supposed to do? There's no response as I keep moving. A loud pop makes me jump and cover my head. What the hell was that? Was that a gunshot? I crouch on the sidewalk, looking left and right, but not seeing anyone. Was someone shooting at me? It had seemed kind of far away. Whatever it was, just sitting here probably isn't going to help me. Moving again, a little faster, bent over. To my left, I see the football stadium rising up, and I'd gone there for a few games and a dance that they held on the field for homecoming.
Dude, I'm not feeling very good. Wanna go back and play something?
Come on! I told you not to be like this.
Can't really help it, man.
Just tough it out another hour.
No, man. I'm gonna head back.
All right, then.
Alright. Later.
I keep going, whispering to myself, to Carl. Is that you, Carl? Can you actually hear me? No response. I keep going, listening for clops. When I hear them, I follow them. After what seems about 10 minutes, I come to a smaller building, one that the path leads directly into. I slow my pace as I come up to it, staring at the door. I listen for a long while, but there aren't any more. I reach out and rest my hand on the handle, then give a slight pull, expecting it to be locked, but it inches open smoothly. Staring at it for a while longer, I finally pull the door open and find our old dorm room. Like most things in this nightmare, it isn't exactly the same. Actually, it's about 3 times larger, 3 times longer, like it's the interior of a stretch limo or something. At the very end of it, I see Carl's splayed out on one of the beds. It doesn't have a mattress in it, so he's just laying on the flat. Slowly, I hobble over to him. He's staring up at the ceiling, and I'm kind of surprised to see a slight smile on his face. Hey, Carl? Carl looks over at me, surprised.
Whoa! Hey, man. Hey, dude. What's up?
He laughs over the last few words. I stare at him. What? Are you okay?
Actually? Yeah. I kinda am.
Are you sure? I move over to the opposite bed, my old bed.
Yeah. For the first time all week, actually.
I push myself onto the bed, which is off the ground a good 3 feet more than at the university. I feel my feet dangle over the edge.
Is your ankle okay? I told you to wait. I just needed a minute.
I frown. Seriously? You just left me there, in a place with smoke monsters. Carl grimaces.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
What happened? I slide around on the bed to face the ram, noticing that while they're tall, they're a lot shorter in length. Short enough that Carl's hooves stick over the edge.
Well, Jenna tried to kill me.
I rub my shoulders, looking away. Yeah, but you know she's not right in the yeah, but you know she's not in her right mind, right? We were talking about how maybe John.
Oh, it's definitely John. James tried to do the same thing to me.
Yeah? I was gonna ask I was gonna ask what it was like. What it was like. Carl pokes at the wall above his head, tapping it with his finger.
Well, he basically told me that I needed to find some stuff out. Keep lies from getting out. That he couldn't tell me why.
Hmm. I wonder what John's telling Jenna. Carl shrugs. I mean, it can't be good if he's a serial killer.
Yeah?
Another period of silence. I don't mind it. Feels kind of nice. Not at all like outside, where I felt like I was in imminent danger. The only problem right now is that something smells kind of bad, but it's subtle enough that it's not really bothering me. Oh, I see what's going on. This room is safe and the outside is dangerous. We are in Carl's, I think I get it.
He might surprise you.
So,
Go ahead,
because
take a guess.
Carl is the one who led to this, it's giving a reflection of something from Carl. So the outside is Carl. So this world is Carl's anxiety. The outside is dangerous and scary, and these people are most likely not being as threatening as they seem. But it's Carl's anxiety that is making them seem way more scary and dangerous than they actually are when they're really not that dangerous.
Yeah.
And here, because this is Carl's safe space, he feels fine. And he can just hang out here forever.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Anxiety
so this is
does do stuff like that. Anxiety
yeah,
does
so
make
this
everything seem
is
more dangerous.
yeah, so this is Carl's headspace, which explains why he likes to just stay inside 24/7 and never go outside. So, we're at the university, huh?
Yep.
Wonder why you hear the voices out there?
Yeah?
Things go quiet again, and I wonder what the hell Carl might be thinking. He looks ridiculously peaceful. Okay, did you find weed somewhere? Because you're looking as chill as I've ever seen you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Carl scratches his nose.
Well, I guess I just realized some stuff.
I wait, but he doesn't go on. Like what?
Well, Chase, that I don't need you.
I frown. What? Carl laughs.
And no offense, man, but I realize that I rely on people too much, you know?
I still don't really know. Did something happen?
I guess I always sort of held it against you with what happened with Clint back in the day.
Oh, the fight?
Yeah, and also some things at college, but then I realized that isn't fair.
He pauses, but I don't say anything.
I realized that I'm really responsible for myself in the end, that I need to help myself.
That's good. I can't help but wonder if now is the best time for this epiphany of Carl is having, but it explains the setting we're in right now. Did he do this with his own mind? Is everything we've been through the result of our. Carl sits up suddenly, rubbing the bed.
And that I'm sick of feeling like I have to do something important, that I need to be important.
He turns on his butt to face me and spreads out his hands.
Because I'm not. I'm not important at all. I'm a rich ass spoiled little shit. And that's about it.
Come on, Carl.
No, it's a good thing. I'm happy because I realize I'm okay with that.
Carl smirks at me.
I want to go to college, but I want to get an art degree. Then I just want to get some job I can halfway stand and play games in my free time.
He stares at me and I stare back. Okay. Carl laughs again.
I know, this sounds stupid, but realizing this, it just feels good to feel comfortable in my own skin. I haven't been comfortable in so fucking long.
Oh, that's good. I try to smile for the ram. But I mean, we still need to get out of here if you're gonna do anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird that I'm feeling this way right now. But what isn't weird here?
Carl reaches out to the wall again, feeling it carefully.
Anyway, when I said I didn't need you, it sounded fucked up. And I still love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too.
But I needed to say it out loud, I guess. I don't need anyone to make me feel okay. I just need to be okay with myself. And I guess I am.
I give Carl a weak smile, not sure what else to say.
Sounds cliche, huh? But it's true.
I mean, I'm just happy that you're okay. You ran away so suddenly.
I had another panic attack. Almost as bad as the one I had here.
Carl points over to the opposite end of the room at the desk. At a desk.
I came back from that stupid dance and had a bunch of homework to do for that computer programming class my dad made me take. I don't know. Having that bad experience at the dance, then trying to figure out programming I didn't fucking understand. Something cracked.
Carl looks over at me.
When I got back home, things were worse than they'd ever been. Then one time I dropped acid and thought I killed you.
I make a face, but Carl waves his hand.
Long story, but then I thought that was a sign that maybe you were the one that was holding me together all that time.
Carl, I had no idea.
Yeah? How were you supposed to know? I didn't say anything. And when you came back to Echo, I thought maybe I could pull myself together with you there.
Carl grins.
Then, after this hellscape thing and Jenna, I just got fed up with it, I guess.
Carl shrugs.
I don't know. I cracked again. But it's like I cracked back in place. I just feel okay now. That we're gonna get through this.
I finally kind of chuckle too. I'm happy for you. I really am. Just wish we could actually get back to Echo so you can feel better there. Carl taps his teeth loudly with his fingers, then looks at me.
Dude, I think we are.
Hmm? I look at him quizzically. Carl runs a hand over the bed again.
I just realized something. Looking at this place. Can you see it?
I furrow my brows. See what?
This place seem familiar at all? Because now I'm seeing something completely different.
I squint. No? Looks like the dorm, just a super long version of it. Carl smiles.
Nah, man. We're in the diner.
What? But I can't go on. But I can't go on. But I can't go on because as soon as I see the shape of the diner, the dorm room melts away like I'm on a table and Carl sits I'm on a table and Carl sits across from me on the opposite table. Oh, oh. Carl's smile stretches into a grin.
I guess we see the truth now.
We had it all along.
Romancing the otter. Yeah.
So, we've been here the whole time? I gasp heavily, leaning on Carl as we make our.
Looks that way. I think it all happened in my house.
I look around me, in the darkness of the night. While the surreal feeling of dreaming is gone, I feel like I'm in some kind of nightmare. Carl tried his phone the second we realized we were back, but it was dead. Here, outside, no one is around, though we did see a few bodies in the middle of the.
What the hell is happening? I think everyone's gone crazy.
Carl seems to be mostly talking to himself. I remember seeing Jaundice running through the street just I remember seeing Jaundice running through the street just before everything went to shit, and I'm inclined to think he's right. Should we maybe go to Leo's place instead?
I don't know. I kinda want to find Raven and Jenna. Break them out of this first.
I mean, she's still got that knife.
Maybe she's calmed down. Then we can tell them. Then we can tell them and snap them out of it.
Well, you'd think the others would come and find us, or something. The fact that they haven't. Carl grunts in acknowledgement, but doesn't say anything more. Meanwhile, the mansion looms ominously in front of us, and there's no sign of Raven or Jenna. There's the tree where we saw the body hanging, thankfully empty. I vaguely wonder if the newspaper clipping that the corpse ate is still there somehow. As Carl half drags me to the driveway, he hesitates.
Listen, maybe you should wait out here. I'll, wake the others up. Wake the others up. And then I'll grab the keys and we can drive out to Peyton, get away from all this.
I laugh despite myself. Yeah, right. After everything we've been through? Besides, I saved your ass when John went after you. I might have to do it again. Carl smirks.
Yeah, alright. But if he comes at us, I want you to get the hell out of here. Get in your car and get to Peyton.
In hindsight, maybe we should have gotten my car from the hotel and left that way instead. Carl shrugs.
I would have come here anyway. I was worried about Raven right now. I'm more worried about Raven right now.
We're on the steps now, and Carl listens intently, his long ears poking up. It's dead silent. My heart rate starts to pick up as Carl reaches for the door, imagining Jenna, John, running out of the darkness, knife in hand. Very slowly, Carl twists the knob and pushes open the door. Thanks to the well-oiled hinges, it makes hardly a sound as it slowly swings open. We're met with darkness, aside from a few LEDs from the TV set. Carl leans close to my ear.
Kiss, kiss, kiss. I'm just kidding. At least at least the power's still on. I'm gonna try the landline first.
I nod as Carl and I step over the foundation and into the house. I'm happy to see that Carl's kitchen looks just like Carl's kitchen. Despite the terrifying atmosphere, there's a relief that comes with knowing that we've broken free of the nightmare, whatever that was. Just then a distant soft poppy. Just then a distant soft pop echoes from the town. We both look back for a moment and remember the sound we heard while running through Pueblo. Had someone shot at me? I don't have long to dwell on that as Carl tugs me into the kitchen, purposely leaving the door open behind us. He's probably more worried about what might be in the house rather than that rather than what's far away in the town. The ram reaches for the light switch and thinks better of it. He leaves me to lean against the counter before moving to the phone. I look around, noticing that the table is set with a few plates with what looks like squares of drywall. In fact, the whole table is covered in dust that probably came from the crawl space. I frown at that before noticing a clear cup in the counter full of some kind of yellow liquid. At the same time, I see a piece of paper laying next to me, standing out on the spotless counter. I reach out, pressing a hand over it and feeling the smooth piece of paper. Its size and shape familiar. I pick it up, looking around for a light source before seeing the fridge and hobbling over to it.
Line's dead. What are you doing, dude?
I open the fridge, letting the dim yellow light spill out. I hold up the paper, and it seems to be a copy of a paper clipping. This is the photocopy from the cabin, I whisper loudly. Masetta boy missing. Native settler tensions rise. Fifth native boy goes missing in 2 years. Native chief says disappearances did not happen. James Hendricks has been confined in the county jail pending further evidence. I look up at Carl. Wait. So, was it James that was kidnapping children? Carl shrugs at me.
I don't really know, man. And I don't think it matters right now.
He did have a point considering we weren't trapped in the nightmare anymore, though I still feel like something is missing. Yeah, you're right. I fold up and shove the paper into my pocket anyway.
So, the phone's dead. I think we just grab the keys and...
Carl's ears prick up. I'd do the same with mine if I could.
You hear that?
No? Carl moves to the stairs.
Stay here. I'll be right back.
I shout whisper. What?
I'll be right back. I think I hear Raven.
I bite my lip. This new boost of confidence that Carl's gotten is great and all. His hero complex is about to get him killed. I follow the ram to the top of the stairs, watching him about to start backwards before jabbing him in the back with my knuckles. I look back into the almost as dark kitchen before making up my mind hopping down the stairs after the ram. He jumps.
Holy shit! You scared the hell out of me.
Carl also whispers. Well, fuck you for thinking of leaving me up here. I told you outside, we're sticking together.
Okay. Just hold on to my shirt or something.
Okay.
Fuck.
With that, Carl starts making his way down the stairs with me limping behind. Slowly but surely, I start to hear something too. It's muffled and quiet and sounds very much like a voice. The voice is calm and reasonable, and I'm pretty sure it's Raven. Carl stops next to the door on our left, where the voice seems to be coming from. Wait, maybe I should open it? If Jenna's in there, it's not like she's going to go after me, right? Carl seems to hesitate in the darkness.
I don't know, man.
Don't worry, you'll be right next to me, right? There's a moment of silence again before Carl shifts next to the side of the door.
All right. But get behind me if she goes after you.
I nod as well. Then I nod as well, even if he can't see me. I take a breath, steeling myself for what might be behind the door. Slowly, I push it open. It's also dark in this room, the weight room, I realize. Talking stops immediately before it turns into a whine.
Oh my god, the door opened by itself. This is insane.
I feel for the light switch next to the door and flip it on. There sits Raven, tied up to a weight machine with what looks like several pieces of clothing. A few pieces of paper sits in his lap and on sits a few pieces of paper sit on his lap and on the ground. The husky is staring right at me, but there's no sign of Jenna either, thank God. Raven?
Oh god, it knows my name.
Raven starts writhing around in his bonds.
Mr. Ghost Thing, what do you want? Do you want money? Honestly, I don't have very much money at all. I work at the mall.
Carl pokes his head in too.
Hey, Raven? Can you hear me?
But Raven keeps babbling on about his job. Carl frowns and shifts past me into the room. I stand in the doorway looking back into the hall, only seeing darkness. Raven's still chattering when Carl reaches out, resting a hand on his shoulder. The shriek that Raven lets out makes my fur stand on end.
Oh my god, oh my god, no, 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 no. Shh.
Fuck.
Carl presses a hand onto the husky's mouth, muffling his nose just a bit. But that's when Raven's eyes widen.
Whoa. Whoa. Hey, Carl.
He stares around, wide-eyed.
Wow. Where am I?
In my house. In my weight room. Are you okay?
The husky looks at Carl again.
What? How?
Carl shrugs.
We have no idea.
I look back into the hallway to make sure Jenna isn't coming after all that shrieking, then look back at the other two. So, it's that easy? We just have to touch him? Carl turns to me.
I guess it's like it really is just a dream or something.
Hey, Chase.
Raven is craning his head around Carl now. Hey, Raven. Raven stares around at the room again.
Wow. You know, just a second ago, I was in a really fancy-looking bedroom. It had a bed with curtains on it and stuff.
Raven, how'd you get tied up?
Oh, Jenna, of course. Actually, she calmed down a bit and I brought her into the house. And then she punched me.
Carl sets to untying the husky while Raven rubs the back of his head against the weight machine.
And I fell down the stairs, and she dragged me into this room and tied me up.
Raven smiles sheepishly.
Honestly, I probably could have fought her off. But facing a tiny, maybe a serial killer girl with a knife is kind of scary, so I just did what she told me.
That's okay. Do you, know where she is now? I glance back into the hallway. Still nothing.
Yeah, she's right behind you. No, she went back out. She did come back like 10 minutes ago. Go and shove these papers in my face.
Raven points at the papers in his lap and on the ground. Carl gets started on untying the binds around.
Said something about these being the real letters, the truth or whatever.
I limp into the room, partly because I don't want to get caught by Jenna if she suddenly comes in, and also because I want to look at those letters. They're short. One of them is about a paragraph, the other is only a few words. Because it's second nature now, I pick up the longer one and I don't know what to say after finding your dungeon. No, there are no other words for it, James. It's a dungeon. And after finding the boy's body, finding out what you've done to it, there truly are no words, James. I only know now why. I only know now why you were never satisfied with me. All of your sweet words have turned to poison. I'm leaving you to the law and leaving this wretched town behind. I only hope that God has no mercy on your soul. I pick up the other letter, placing it over the first. You are disgusting. I don't have James's letters, so I have no idea what John. I also don't know who to believe. John or James or even the thing they were talking about could alter the notes left around in what and John or James or even the thing they were talking about could alter the notes left in dreams. There's no way I can even begin to piece together who was manipulating what. But maybe because I'm in the real world, this is certainly real. This could be the actual truth. I also noticed the collection of dust on these photocopy pages, taken from the scrapbook and stashed somewhere. Probably the crawl space, considering the state they're in. Is Jenna in the crawl space right now, searching for letters? Raven finally pulls his feet out of the ropes, rubbing his arms. He nods at me.
Said she wrote that one in jail after James had written to him. I gotta say, since that whole knife thing, seems like she doesn't know who she is.
I fold up the letters, putting them in my pocket with the news article.
I mean, she keeps on going about James and letters.
Did she say anything else about the letters? Raven frowns, looking at the ceiling.
She said something about not being able to finish the game because one of them burned and the other got eaten.
I put a hand on my pocket. Well, I found the one that burned on the counter upstairs. I don't think it burned. We just saw it burn. I think to the tree outside in front of the house. Carl shakes his head.
Doesn't really matter now that we're free of this shit. Let's find the keys and get the hell out.
Carl starts on the last restraints around Raven's ankle. I get up and limp to the doorway again, looking out. In that moment, I hear a whisper of movement down the hall. I limp out a bit more, watching as two tall ears slowly materialize out of the darkness. For a moment, I see a young male fox in overalls in front of me. But that imagery dissolves as Jenna is slowly lit up by the light coming from the weight room. She's covered in dust from the crawl space. I'm startled, but I'm not scared because I know she can't see me. At least, she shouldn't be able to see me, but her piercing eyes are right on me. She can see me. Maybe it's the fact that it's not Jenna at all. Maybe it's because she's completely possessed and it's John looking through her eyes. whatever it is, she can see me. It's clear. Because she immediately raises the knife and bares her teeth at me. I don't want the others getting caught by her, especially Raven tied up like. I need to give Carl or I. I need to give Carl or I chance. Or I need to give Carl or I chance to attack from behind, depending on if she goes for me or takes a turn into the weight room. She's coming. I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Shall say what?
Chosen one. I'm coming. And also Monty Python.
I
And
back
then-
out into the. Go ahead.
And then.
Oh!
All right, go ahead.
I back out into the hall, away from Jenna, hoping to give one of us the advantage. But she's coming so fast. Alta, you're in on it with James, huh? Her voice, rough and deep, unlike anything I'd heard from Jenna. I realized then that there's no waking Jenna from this. It's not Jenna anymore. And John sure as hell isn't waking up. John lunges and I turn and run. The fox doesn't even glance into the weight room. I limp and leap in through the darkness, left hand stretched out, desperately feeling for the end of the wall that will signify the stairs. I hear the fox breathing behind me, bumping into. Finally, my hand falls through nothing, and I turn sharply and run up the stairs. As I stumble upwards, I start to wonder what the hell I'm going to do. Well, I could try and go for the bathroom. Lock the door. That doesn't exactly help out Carl. I can't stop thinking about the newspaper clipping that John's hanging corpse ate. That John's King hanging corpse ate. If I can get all the pieces that it wants us to get, then maybe I can end whatever this is. My thoughts are interrupted as something cold goes down my back, followed by an even colder pain, just to the right of my spine. I gasp as if I've fallen into water, but continue up. I can hear Carl shouting, too, at the base of the stairs. There's too much distance between me and him for the ram to be of any help. As I reach the top of the stairs, there's a loud thwack. There's a loud thwack sound to my left to the left of my head as I stumble into the kitchen. I glance at my shoulders and see John yanking. Almost sobbing now, I jump limp my way to the front door, hearing John scream curses at me from behind. Well, I want Carl's help right now. I also don't want him to catch up. I don't want John turning on him. I struggle with the door for a moment to for some reason to push on it rather than pull. It's only a few seconds, but enough for John to gain on me, swinging the knife again as I pull. I scream and duck, hearing the metal clang against the door hinge. I lunge forward out of the door and into the cool of the early morning. The sky is a soft blue as dawn breaks. I limp as fast as I can down the steps, down the driveway, towards the slope past the road, but John catches me as I'm on the road. This time he grabs my shirt, holding on to me. I turn to face him as he draws the knife back for another swing, but at that moment we go over the slope. Even in my adrenaline-fueled state, the fall is painful, and each time I roll, I can feel the stab of rocks sticking into my skin. The final bounce is punctuated with a blinding pain in my forehead as it collides with a small boulder. I shakily get to my feet, looking left and right for the tree, panicking until I realize it's right in front. I stumble right into it, clinging to it. I scan the dirt, but there's nothing. No paper at all. Jen is getting up just 5 feet away. I can see blood oozing through several scratches. His body. The knife is still in his hand, and he's zeroing in on me again. I cower and move behind the tree, my plan ruined. That's when my face comes level with the hollow of the tree. Automatically, I reach in, feeling around, feeling mostly spider webs and twigs. Carl appears on top of the slope.
Hey! Hey! Stop!
John whirls around, knife raised as he. You! My hand finds the corner of a piece of paper. Out the newspaper clipping. Scanning over it, it's another quote from Carl's mother. I begin to read, my voice cracking as I manage to shout. But I was able to open the lockbox kept by James himself. It was full of jail letters between him and. John freezes in his steps, knife still raised, looking up at Carl. I don't want to sully the Hendricks name, but if what John said is true, James framed him for the most heinous. In the meantime, Carl stumbles down the slope, moving carefully around the fox to stand in front of me. I reach into my pocket and pull out the other pieces of paper. I hold them up. John, we know the truth. I'm going to tell everyone in my documentary, okay? I'm a journalist, a reporter. We'll see the truth. John turns towards me, knife slowly lowering. And just like that, it's not John anymore. Jenna. The knife clatters to the rocks. Carl reaches out to hold me, and I collapse against him, everything numb. Jenna's hands go to her mouth, staring at the knife, staring at me and Carl before she screams. And in the distance, I can hear sirens. Dots.
Uh, uh.
Dot, 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 dot. Is history subjective in nature? The story of James and John seems to be. All we have are a few written letters trying to draw some sort of conclusion. In the end, it can't really be said what exactly happened. No. Instead, we can only provide the facts. Several native children went missing. James was accused of the crime before claiming that his secret lover, John, was the culprit. In his jail letters, Jonathan claimed that he was framed by James because of the vigilante justice dealt out by the town. John never had a trial, and no record of the evidence collected exists. James, because of his influence, was allowed to leave hundreds of miles. He eventually died. He never wrote of the incident again. Many believe that, as journalists, we are supposed to be unbiased and only state facts. That's not exactly true, as long as it's clear that we're stating an opinion. And so I'd like to do that now. In my opinion, it's my opinion that John is innocent. We should be presumed innocent until proven. After all, and Jonathan has never even had that. According to accounts written by other townspeople, James was a deceitful, emotionally manipulative man. There are many accounts of his prejudices against the native people. In the end, the record that exists of John gives us no reason to disbelieve, while James has given us every reason to doubt him. But because time is evidence his worst enemy, it has been 150 years. The definitive answer will likely never be known. Like much of Echo, the story is lost to time. I'm Chase Hunter at Pueblo University, and this has been a special report on the town of Echo. I look over the report again, eyes stinging from staring at the monitor for too long. I'm a terrible writer, and the words of the script seem so clumsy. I shrug and decide I'll have time tomorrow to polish it up a bit. It's weird writing the last word to a script I started almost 1.5 years ago. It's changed a lot since then, moving from a focused area to an old mansion mystery. My mind wanders back to that spring break in Echo. I still shake my head when I think about it, how it completely shattered my view on reality, my view on life. Of course, I couldn't come back to school right afterwards. I hadn't finished my project after all. Actually, I needed therapy. We all did. Except Carl. He seems to have come out of it better than he had going into it. Somehow. Everyone handles trauma differently, Jenna would say. In fact, she has a lot of things to say about what happened. While she didn't come out quite as unscathed as Carl, she's still tougher than me. And actually went right back to school after that. Went right back to school that summer. Now she's at Weston, and a lot of her research is folia deux, or shared psychosis. Because of how everything went down, the things that we felt, what we saw, Jen is convinced that that's what took place. She brought up the way we primed each other to hear and see things, the way the things we saw didn't have any rhyme or reason for what they were. While I do believe a lot of what we saw came from ourselves, I'm not fully convinced that explains all of it. Mainly because the rest of the townspeople went through their own nightmare at night. I still can't believe the things that Leo and T. Still, I'm glad she can find a way to explain it to herself. She told me over the phone just last week that she hasn't forgiven herself, that she should have been stronger than that. I've told her over and over that it's not her fault, but I guess after coming to with a knife in her hand and stabbed, it left an impression. I rest my hand on the thick scar through my shirt, runs all the way down my and wiggle the ankle that causes me a permanent limp. Still, this whole incident, it actually brought us closer. At least for Jenna, Carl, and I. Hell, even Raven. It's still painful to think about how Flynn, Leo, and TJ aren't really talking anymore. I guess it's the fact that we went through completely different things during the incident. Of course, we'd told the police that it was someone else that had stabbed me while the town descended into mad Echo, a name now famous worldwide after the mass hysteria event that truly brought a dying town to its ultimate end. At least in terms of being a failed town. While no one really lives there now, it's certainly become a tourist attraction. Countless news reports, TV shows, and paranormal investigators descend on the area. Especially since the news story changed from "killing spree leaves 9 dead" to "whole town went nuts." Luckily, not a lot of focus fell on us since we weren't exactly living in Echo. We just got into the ambulances and left. Carl, on the other hand, along with the rest of his family, are still harassed by the media. Tom's mom, Tricia, is a pro at handling them. I still wonder about what exactly it was that stopped her from publishing all her findings. I'll have to ask her sometime, considering I'm practically family. In the end, the relationship that I had with Carl in the dreamscape didn't exactly survive in the real world. Carl told me that he didn't know where he ended and James began, but when he rejected James's influence, we couldn't really trust anything that happened there. Still, still, he's my best friend, and I plan to spend the summer over at his house when I start my next project on Echo. Yeah, I realized that there were a lot more stories, and I plan to uncover them. I'm almost healed. It's almost healing going back there now without my own little therapy. I guess I always end up. I guess I always end up back there eventually. The sound of clops to my right makes me look up, just as a bulky ram fills the frame of the doorway. Carl leans against it, rolling his eyes.
Dude, you told me we were gonna. You told me you were gonna work on that tomorrow.
I smile and rest my chin in my palm. Was just giving it a quick once over before we film.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I'm going for some pizza. You coming?
I'm not really hungry, but taking my taking my mind off Echo for just a little bit sounds good. Carl always cheered me up anyway. I nod over at the corner of our dorm room where paper mache sculpture of a tortured looking bird. Don't you have to finish that thing by tomorrow? Carl shrugs.
I got like 3 energy drinks in the fridge. I'll be good. Come on, let's get going. I want to meet Caitlin there too.
I get up slowly, stretching out my back. Oh, I see. So I'm just your wingman. Carl smirks.
It's not like that, dude. I just like hanging out with her. Now let's go!
Adventure!
A cinnamon toast ram! I fly backwards.
Carl hangs in the Carl frames in the hang. Carl frames in the hang. Okay. Carl hangs in the on the frame, starting to swing himself out into the hall. Hey, Carl? Carl rebounds back into the room, leaning in towards me.
Yo!
Thanks for being my friend. I don't know if it was all the reminiscing about what happened the spring before last, or if I'm still not over what happened. Carl seems to understand. He smiles and reaches out a big hand towards me.
Of course, man. And if you need to talk or something, I'm here. You want to talk right now?
I shake my head quickly. Nah, I'm good. I just wanted to say it. Carl smiles.
Well, thanks for saying it. Now let's go!
Carligan swings on the door frame out into. There's some loud clopping before I hear him shouting at someone and giving them what sounds like a high five. I smile to myself as I look at the document screen one last time before closing the laptop and following Carl out into the hallway.
Finally, a good end.
Yeah.
Woo! It's a legit good end, too. Not like Chase Survives going to end like in the end of TJ's route. What was his route have we done? Oh, well, you know, actually, Leo had a good end. Leo's route had a legit good end. Actually,
Yeah.
you think it was probably better end than this one? Because Chase got a new boyfriend who's reliable, strong.
He's trauma bonded with him, so not really.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
So that relationship is potentially going to just explode at some point or fall apart.
Hmm. And this one's like more genuine. Like I guess they're kind of also trauma bonded. Do you think?
I mean,
Carl
to an
and
extent, but they're not in a relationship, quote unquote. They're just friends.
yeah, true.
And that can blossom into an actual relationship, but it sounds like Carl is probably bi.
Yeah, because there was like a gay relationship they were building, and now it seems like maybe he's could be going out with this Caitlyn character, whoever she
Hmm?
is. But at the
Yeah.
same time, he's saying he just likes hanging out with her.
Yeah.
So maybe not. We don't really know.
Hmm.
We don't really know. I don't think we know that part of Carl's orientation actually. If he's bi or gay.
Yeah, and it's fine either way.
Well, actually, we kind of do because
He had a girlfriend in high school.
he had a girlfriend in high school, and then he was ready to get together with Chase. So yeah, I think bi would be appropriate. Yeah,
Yeah,
or a little bi ram.
which is fine.
Yeah, it's
Like
fine.
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely nothing.
Honestly,
He's a good
like
boy.
I was talking about this with someone, and it's the whole thing like when you meet people who are super concerned or focused on like people's sexual orientations or genders or whatever, like that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like, why are you so obsessed with this? I mean, are you afraid they're
Yeah,
going to come after you? Dude, even if
yeah,
they
it's
do,
like,
just say you're not interested.
yeah,
Most reasonable people are going to, if they're told, nah, I'm good, I don't want to date you, they're going to say okay.
yeah, exactly.
And, I can only assume that if someone's like really, really upset about that, they're worried that they're going to get flirted with and just pursued and stalked because maybe that's the kind of person they are and they're projecting what they believe they would do onto the other person.
Or they're just incredibly insecure. I think it's the
Yeah,
insecurity.
probably the insecurity as well.
I mean, there's also a cultural aspect of it where, like, being gay at least in the past, was perceived as a bad thing. I mean, like, even Mormons, they have this, like, made up mental condition. I forget what they call it. It's ludicrous. But their made up woo woo mental condition basically says that like gay people have a fetish for each other instead of gay people exist. Basically,
They have a
as I
fetish
said,
for
it's
each
just
other? What the
yeah,
hell?
like their whole thing is gay people have a kink for each other. Like gay men have a kink for men. It's like uh
That
so
doesn't
you're
make
saying
sense.
straight men have a kink for women? I'm confused, and like they try to paint it as like a mental illness,
Like, no,
and it doesn't make any sense.
it does. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because that simple logical test is if you just replace one part of this, like you replace them having a fetish for men and replace that with a fetish for women, is it still a fetish or is it like it's okay? And it's no longer a fetish in their eyes, which means
Yeah,
it can't really be a fetish for guys. It's
yeah,
just dumb. It's just
yeah.
dumb.
It's very dumb. But it's just yeah, like people who are against like someone just so like the conversation was like someone stole my phone. So for those of you who don't know, I don't know where my phone is right now, but yeah, I could probably find it in like 30 seconds.
Want me to call you?
Okay, found it. So
Okay.
this is what my phone looks like. Okay, it's pink and blue. Why? Because I like pink and blue. Okay, so person was like, "Oh, are you gay?" And I'm like, "No, not no. I've hung out with guys. I've done stuff with guys. I've tried that to see if it works. And I can very confidently say that men's bodies do nothing for me. Just how it is. I have tried. Does just does nothing. However, I can look at women all day. So, it is just one of those things. Am I like, would I be offended by guys wanting to do stuff with me? No. Why would I be?
Be
He's
flattered.
inviting me to go have a he's inviting me to go have a good time with him.
Yeah,
Why
with
would
me. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, he's inviting me to go have a good time with him. Why would I decline if it's something that sounds like it could be fun, right? So and I can say that because I'm secure in that way. So people who are like they get hit on by so some guy who gets hit on by a gay guy, by a gay or bi guy, dude, that person who gets offended by that is super insecure about themselves. It's a them problem. 100% a them problem. And as you said, they don't understand that if you're just like, not really, doesn't really do anything for me. I'm not interested. No, thank you. Like, like gay dudes, they get it. They're like, okay, that's cool. Mind if I hang around, Mister Good Looking, right?
That eye candy.
Yeah, yeah. They'll you might be eye candy. They might want to just looking at you. They're not hurting you by doing that. They're not causing you any damage. You might get that feeling that women get on a pretty regular basis because women get stared at by dudes all the time, and it makes a lot of women extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you'll be getting a little bit of that, but at the same time, you know, as long as you feel confident that you could defend yourself from this person, if they tried to do something, which they won't, then as long as you feel comfortable, you're fine.
Yeah, just set up
So
boundaries, just have clear
yeah,
boundaries.
yeah,
And if you don't
have
know how to
boundaries.
do that, learn how. Just like I
Yeah,
have trouble being assertive, but it's one of those things to be like, dude, I don't want this. Don't do that. Or I'm just gonna
dude,
have to be like, no, I just won't have you
dude.
come around anymore.
Oh, the moment I started working in a mental health setting,
Mm.
especially in a hospital, I learned boundaries super fast, super super fast, because you have to be able to set boundaries. Otherwise, the patients will just have you running back and forth forever. Like you'll just be going constantly. Just be like, hey, can I
Interesting.
get
So,
this? And you'll go and get it for them. Like, hey, can I get that? And you'll go and get it for them. And when you have like 5 patients, it's not really a big deal. It's kind of just boring. But if you have like 20,
mm.
no way. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've kind of tried it a little bit myself, and I realized that I am definitely heterosexual, 100%. Like I tried something, I was like, I just feel super uncomfortable, and this is just not working at all. And the guy was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. I mean, kind of sucks, but I'm like, yeah, sorry, I know you kind of came into this, but I'm just not feeling it." I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was
Yeah,
just
and
like
like
he was cool with it. Like I just said, "No, I tried, didn't work out. I'm sorry."
yeah. And like a huge thing is there's nothing wrong with that. Here's the fun part though. Here's the part where we get to the fun bit. If you do enjoy doing some things, well, I mean, you don't have to like the way he really looks to do those fun things with him.
Mm,
If it doesn't require a specific, aspect of you. So, go and enjoy.
yeah, and we're still friends, that
So,
guy and
like,
I.
yeah,
And he asked me if it's cool if he does. Actually, he didn't ask, but I figured he would probably want to pleasure himself, And I'm just like, I just kind of thought to myself, I'd just be flattered more than anything because I don't really think I'm that attractive personally. So if
mm,
someone thinks I'm attractive enough to want to pleasure themselves to, like, yeah, I'm flattered, honestly. I just,
and
yeah, it's not that insecure.
I just want to add something to this very quick that's actually super, super, super important. And that is, I just want to make it perfectly clear. We're not attempting to take like being gay or bi and then just compress that into being like, oh, it's just a sexuality. Oh, it's just who you're attracted to. Because there's a fundamental difference between homosexual and gay. Homosexual, by the way, is just the sexual orientation, whereas gay is the entire culture,
Oh, I didn't know that.
right? So, like, when people say queer culture, they're really talking about gay culture because gay culture is super, super, super inclusive. If you're cool and you're willing to hang out with them, you can go to all the pride events you want. If you're in um, San Francisco and you want to go to Frolic, you can be the straightest person ever. Go to Frolic. You'll make tons of friends.
Just respect the culture,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
I think that's
Just
what it is. Just respect the culture.
yeah. It's that whole thing. Like there
And
are lots and lots of gay people out there who are not like, oh my god, hi. Like that's a stereotype to an extent. But I mean, most of the gay people you'll meet are just normal.
yeah.
Like they just talk like a normal person. They're not super over the top about things. You know, they're just who they are. It's just for some reason, when you look at the art in their house or their apartment, there's a lot of really muscular dudes or really like really, really thin twinks. And it's like, huh, all right. I see where this is going.
Yeah, I've got a few friends that are gay. I've got two friends that are married to each other, and neither one of them talks like, "Oh my god!" They don't have that. They don't. They're
Yeah.
not. Was that inflection at the end? Neither of them have
I
that.
suppose.
You talk to them, and they talk to you like they are absolutely normal. Like you would look at them, talk to them, and you would both think, and you would think both of them are just bros. Like they're just pals. They get along, maybe roommates, they're cool with each other. You would never realize they're husband and husband. Not ever, because one of them, like one of the dudeliest dudes out there, would talk to you about football, loves the Colts. You know, he'll talk to you about like all his fan stuff. He'll invite you over to a movie, and his husband will cook for you, and he's a great chef, a great home chef. And like yeah, like these are just bros. If you ever saw them kiss, it probably surprised you if you didn't know already that they were married and gay. It was like, wait, you're married? I'm like, yeah, you didn't know? No, you look like bros. You look like a sports bro. He's a chef bro. I thought y'all were just bros and like roommates and just like, probably had girlfriends on the side. They just didn't ask because it's none of my business. You would
Yeah, bro,
never
we
know.
are.
Because
It's like, yeah, bro, we are. Check this out.
yeah. They're like, hey, check this out. Let's put your hands together this way. You can see like, I think you know what you're talking. I won't go with that. But it's like,
Okay, so first off, cover your hand and all this stuff, and then make a duckbill with your hand, and
there she is.
this is what large intestines feel like.
But yeah, you would never know that they were married, two guys married, until you asked or just saw them kiss. And it's just like, they'll just act like bros. They literally act like any straight guy I've ever met. And it's just like, oh shit. I had no idea.
Yep.
Which is awesome. So anyone who thinks that it's the stereotype is the whole thing, yeah, the stereotype has a lot of it's got a lot of reinforcement, I think, but at the same time, it's not. It's a stereotype for a reason. It's just like this idea that people use, just quickly put it into a spot and be like, yeah, that's all of them. It's like, it's really not.
Remember, guys, just because we brought up stereotypes, the whole thing about them is there is a kernel of truth in every stereotype, a kernel of it. But that small kernel is expanded into this, and into this big, ridiculous thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what this means is when you meet gay people, you will meet gay people who are like, oh, hi, how's it going? How are you? And that one person is expanded to all gay people.
Yeah.
By the stereotypes.
Right?
Right?
Most of them are just like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah. And like, yes, they will joke around.
Yeah.
We will have fun with it. But almost every single person that I've met who talks to other dudes like, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing, huh? You having a good time? They're almost all straight.
And they're just
And
fucking
it's a
around.
joke. Yeah, it's just a joke. Or maybe they're super chill and that's just been incorporated into who they are. Like, hi.
It could just be like one of the many memes they basically grew up with. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many things Finn and I just, can share from our childhoods about, all the different things. And it's just like, yeah, all of them pop up. And when they do, we just go on a nice little, meme train and just have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And so someone does go, oh my goodness, look at you. It's just like,
oh my
oh
goodness.
my goodness. It's like, yeah, that was a meme back in the day. We just have fun with it. Doesn't mean disrespect at all.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of this stuff where it was super exaggerated was after Stonewall in I think the 80s. Where there was that real thing where now people were going to start really pushing gay rights because there was sort of this like period there was this period of time where basically being gay was it wasn't on the books as a crime, but they criminalized everything that was gay. So, for example, any kind of sex that was not just intercourse, meaning phallus into, between labia and into vagina, anything that was not that was considered sodomy and was like a felony. So they would criminalize everything that they could to basically punish people for being gay. Even to the point of like men could not wear makeup at all. Cross dressing was a crime, wearing makeup was a crime. And so at Stonewall, a bunch of this happened pretty regularly, but a bunch of cops would just raid a gay bar and they drag trans people out and dump their faces in like buckets of water to makeup all. And then they would basically tear off all their clothes if they were even to the point of making them completely nude and throw them in the back of police trucks, basically, paddy wagons. And they would do this. And Stonewall was when people said, no, we're good. And they just started chucking bricks at the police. There were a bunch of singers at the time. There's this funny story where there was this musician who was drinking at a straight bar across from this gay bar. And he saw people chucking he saw people chucking bricks at police officers. And so he downs his drink really quick, puts some money on the counter, runs out there, picks up bricks, and starts chucking them at police officers too. Because his mantra was that any time you get to chuck any reason to chuck a brick at a police officer was a good reason. So we can probably confidently say, well, we can hopefully say that it was a more oppressive time back then, and we're all, enlightened and not oppressive today, but unfortunately, kind of just kidnapped off the. So,
yeah,
I guess pull out bricks again. I guess, but
get those bats ready.
kind of, yeah, it kind of is what it is. But yeah, so after Stonewall, there was this big push of making sure that people see gay people, and so you had a lot of this stuff where, like, people were trying to be activists were trying to be as gay as possible, as visibly gay as possible, hitting the stereotype, so that people knew that they existed. Because when it's your friend who lives down the street from you who's like, hi, I'm Johnny. I mean, he's your friend. He comes over for fucking barbecue on Saturdays. So when he gets, brutalized by people for being gay, are you just going to shrug and be like, well, that's how it goes? Or are you going to get pissed off? Because this guy is a fantastic person who will watch your kids whenever, who will walk your dog, who will feed your pets when you're out on vacation. You know this person. You can rely on this person. You like this person.
And you said
So
he
now,
you gave the example. He probably, like you said, bakes cakes or something and brings them to the bar. He probably does that to other places he goes too. He's just a fantastic person
yeah,
in general.
yeah,
Yeah. You get someone like that in your life, and someone starts harassing him. That's, like I said, you just get
yeah,
the bat and go visit the harassing person, and say, "Fuck off."
yeah. It's like those are the things that cause political change. Those are the things that cause that cultural shift. That work has been done now, for the most part. Like,
Yeah.
people don't question gay rights in most places anymore. If you got a red state shitholes, then yes, people will question it all the time. But in many civilized states, um,
Yeah, civilized states,
yes,
exactly.
in many blue states, in blue areas, like, gay rights are not controvertible anymore. They're not in controversy. It's like, yes, this is real. This is accepted. The work has been done. They are recognized. They're Yeah. And so now we've moved to trans people. Why? So at Stonewall and after Stonewall and before, trans people were super adamant about gay rights. Super adamant about it. So now that trans people have helped gay people get their rights recognized nationally, like, yeah, nationally. Some health holes can still do stuff to them, but especially with certain leaderships. But now that that work has been done, now we're starting on the other work to get trans people recognized. And we are running into the exact same resistance that gay people did. Exact same resistance from the exact same terrible, awful, vile people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, question here. Since I haven't found any trans folks.
mhm.
Is there a different culture from the gay culture, queer culture, than the trans culture, or is that basically the same thing?
So I'll let you in on a little tip. You have probably met trans people and not known.
So they kind of fit right into society, as long as they're not like, yeah, I used to be the other gender.
The vast majority of trans people do not want other people to know that they were not, do not want people to know their cis identity or that they were cis.
Yeah, it's actually
Or,
super offensive
well,
to
no,
use their
not
dead
that they
name.
were cis.
They-
They don't want people to know who they were before they transition because that creates a lot of problems. Instead, they want you to just accept them as they are and
Mhm.
for who they are. Now, I don't want to be talking with them because I'm not trans, so give that kind of, I can't really speak as an authority on that, but
Mhm.
they want you to just accept them as they are. And
Yeah,
so many of them will go to rather great lengths to try and make that happen,
that's good.
right? You'll have, like, trans men, that's someone who went from female to male, someone that is a man who was assigned female at birth, female to male. So they will typically make sure that they grow out a beard whenever possible, or that they have obvious facial hair. They will typically work out a lot more than a lot of cis guys will. So
Hmm.
he will try to make sure that you can see muscles. Sometimes the only way you can tell is they'll have scars in certain places, but they also tend to cover that stuff up. So, like, I think it's called a mastectomy, where you remove the memories, you remove the breasts. So they'll leave scars underneath, um, on the ribs, basically.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, all kinds of little things.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Um, but you won't know most of the time unless they're, like, super obvious about it. And that's fine too. They're just embracing a different part of trans culture. Um, Typically speaking, LGBTQIA IA plus, or if they've added any that I don't remember, that culture is very insular and it will work with itself. So there's a lot of infighting, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like it's kind of like being part it's kind of like being part of the group and then sort of arguing with each other inside the group. You're not going to just, abandon them when someone starts poking and prodding at them or fights with them. And the other thing is, where does one fully end and the other one begin? You don't really know. I mean, you kind of do, but the whole thing is that there's a lot of cross pollination and everyone's kind of friends with each other to an extent, or at least understands each other. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of understanding of what is the big one. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's understanding that you are a minority, and then there are different minorities within LGBTQIA plus culture. So, like, to put it in perspective, gay people are like what, 20%, depending on how you define it, probably more of the entire population. Depending on how you define it. And then trans people are like 2% or something. So we're looking at a much smaller minority. But then again, how do you define where these boundaries are? I'm not saying that gay men are trans, but I am saying that there's going to be boundaries between these things kind of gray. Like how many trans people are gay? If someone is a trans man and he likes men, is he gay? Because a trans man was assigned female. So, like, where do you put these hard definitions? And then it gets even more confusing because these definitions change depending on where you go.
Something else that also messes up with the definitions is, I don't know if it's really part of it. I think it's definitely more physical and biological. It's intersex, because intersex is you have the physical anatomy of both sexes. You have a penis and you have a vagina, or you have the internal workings of both of them, or
So,
kind of a little bit of both. And so it's you literally don't know. And what doctors would do is just say, which one should we make them? We'll just have some quick plastic surgery right here while the child is, a baby. And it's like,
yeah, to an
okay.
extent.
Yeah.
To an extent. Sometimes, literally, you'll have people with penises who are born with ovaries, where the testes should be. You'll have people with uteruses who are born with testicles, where where the ovary should be. So those I don't know much about intersex, but the general consensus is, generally speaking, humans are born male or they are born female. And if they're not, one of those, and they are the organs and reproductive structures they have, we'll say, don't line up, then something went wrong. That isn't to say that intersex people are just a big mistake or anything like that, because they're not. But it is to say that they are probably not going to be able to reproduce. They're still people. You should still treat them like people. You should not use this as an excuse to be against them or anything. Don't do that.
Yeah, they literally cannot help how they are. I mean,
Correct.
if you believe in, say, Christianity or any other religion, God literally made them that way.
Yes.
If you hate on them for being intersex, congratulations, you officially have judged something that God made, which God, Jesus himself, who is actually God, specifically told you not to do. Something along the lines of, don't intend to take the splinter from your brother's eye, well, you have a plank sticking out of your own. Yeah, I think it's in Matthew. I don't know,
Okay.
remember where, but yeah, plank eye don't have any right to say intersex is bad.
Yeah. There's just one of the things that is so frustrating with dealing with some religious people is they'll use excuses like the devil. And it's like, okay, let me get this right. God is omnipotent. That means he can do anything. He has all the power. Omnipotence doesn't mean he's the president of the universe. It means he can literally do anything. Infinite power. Affect the entire universe or just one little blank space. Okay? Omniscience means he knows everything. He can see everything. Every thought you have, everything that happens, and every corner of the universe, he's fully aware.
And it
Okay.
also says he knows everything that will happen.
Yes. So here's the big thing that becomes a problem for me with like Christianity and stuff like that. How the fuck is the devil doing anything? If he's supposed to be in a prison, how the hell is he causing any kind of corruption? Considering that this omniscient and omnipotent being knows exactly what he's doing and how he's doing it, and has the power to just shut it down, snap a finger, just nope, done. How does this being that wants you to know that it exists and will punish you for not knowing that it exists? How does that being how does that being not make it so that you know that it could just do it? Done. You know. So if we look at this stuff, it doesn't make any logical sense. And yeah, I mean, some of it just doesn't make any sense. So using the devil as an excuse for prejudice against people is complete horseshit, and no one should ever do it. I mean, sorry. God shit, and no one should ever do it.
Gotcha. Honestly, whenever someone uses something like the devil made me do it, or they
It's
start
bullshit.
being religious and stuff, and it's like, if they, I don't know, if they start calling someone else the devil or want to call me the devil for whatever, it'd be like, you mean like the devil that's controlling you? Like, it's so easy to turn it back around on them and then just watch them rage. It's kind of funny.
Dude, having worked in mental health now for a while and having had people, basically use the voices as an excuse or mental illness as an excuse for bad behavior, what they have learned is they can blame something that they seemingly don't have control for their own actions, but they're still the ones who made that decision. So I've had people like try to attack the staff and, then use the voices, the excuse for why they did. And what I have learned working in mental health, they have the ability to not act on those things. It's a fucking hospital. We have medications we can give you at the drop of a hat. We just let the doctor know, and the doctor will prescribe you stuff. Cool. So they're telling me that the reason they're kicking and punching people because voices are telling them to? Yeah, no, complete horseshit. The entire reason they get away with doing that, the entire reason they are doing that and saying that and using that as an excuse is because who don't understand accept that. Okay. So if instead it's they attack someone and they say the voices, it's like, no, take your meds. Don't listen to the voices. Don't do what they say. The voices are probably not good for you. Do not use this illness as an excuse for bad behavior because ultimately you are the one making the bad behavior, making the decision to do bad things. Stop using that as a crutch for bad behavior, for bad things, because that behavior and those bad things that end up keeping you on the lower end of society and ending you back up in a hospital over and over and over. Get your shit together so that you can live your life. But, outside of extreme circumstances where sometimes they literally don't, but those people tend to be permanently just institutionalized anyway. It is what it is. Like, the people who literally don't have control, they're the ones who do something horrendous, and then they are deemed like mentally unfit to serve trial, and then they end up basically in a mental health hospital for the rest of their lives, because it's up to a psychiatrist to decide when they can leave, and that psychiatrist benefits from them being there because they get more money from the state to hold on to them. So,
And that brings up a
whole lot of other things. Time to
yes,
go,
which
because
is
I am late for a game.
yeah. So I think Finn needs to go. He's late. He's like the White Rabbit. I'm late. I'm late. Alice is going to get her head chopped off by the big bad Queen of Hearts.
Indeed. All right.
Well, have fun with
And
your
with
queen.
that, everyone, I will see you all later.
Until their next route. Bye.
Bye.